So this is my video post for the Brene Brown TED Talk. I've seen this TED Talk. I can't tell you how many times. It's just as transformative to hear as it was the first time I saw it. I know a lot about the ideas of vulnerability, connection, shame, etc. But the articulation that she used to kind of condense this um, was, like I said, just as beautiful as it was the first time I saw it. I loved her. I loved her calling it data with a soul. For me, that personalizes the idea of research and objective fact collecting, and allows it to allows the qualitative to be quantified, which is funny because that's sort of what she talks about. She wants to clean up messy topics, lay out code for everyone to see, which, like I said, I relate a lot to. Um, and then to get into sort of the meat and potatoes of what she was talking about, in her research, she encountered something, um, kind of a roadblock that she found out was shame. Um, and then sort of the paradox that nobody wants to talk about it, but the less you talk about it, the more you have of it. Um, and that the thing that underpinned all that, the I'm not blank enough, was excruciating vulnerability. In order for connection to happen, though, we have to allow ourselves to really be seen. Um, and in that research, and in my own personal life, um, she found that the ones who have a strong sense of belonging um, believe they're worthy, that have connection as a result of authenticity. They believe that what made them vulnerable made them beautiful. They didn't talk about it being comfortable or excruciating, but instead necessary. Um, my favorite part of this, and again, this is something I've experienced in my own life, is I lost the fight, but I probably won my life back. And that's a direct quote from Brene Brown in the talk. This is after she went to see a therapist for therapists. Um, yeah, that was my favorite part of the entire talk. And then she goes on to talk about numbing, which is, again, something I can strongly relate to. Talks about debt, obesity, addiction, medication, and the hers, my generation being the most numb generation, and then the idea that numbing cannot be selective. Um, Again, which is something I've experienced. This her whole talk speaks to me so much. Um, in numbing, the more difficult emotions, joy, happiness, and gratitude are also numb. And then another one of my favorite aspects or favorite points in her talk is that blame, her definition is a way to discharge pain and comfort, which makes so much sense to me. Um, I've tried to steer my own life away from the idea of blame playing a large role in it, because in my experience, I've noticed that blame tends to be um, it tends to be thrown out by people that are visibly uncomfortable. And her closing points were just so beautiful. Talks about we need to let ourselves be seen deeply and vulnerably, love with our whole hearts, um, practice gratitude and joy even in moments of terror. And then it only made sense to me when she said, when we're wondering if we can be this passionate, wondering if we can love this much, be this fierce, to stop, and instead of catastrophizing what could happen, um, or might happen, instead being grateful, um, because to feel this way, and I quote, means I'm alive. Um, and then believing that we're enough. And that when we work that way, we stop. Again, this is her. Stop screaming and start listening. Be kinder and gentler to the people around us. and we're kinder and gentler to ourselves.